Welcome to the Action Hero Podcast. Buckle up for some seriously addictive action stories, served up fun and adventurous, the kind that leaves you hungry for more. Don't forget to rate and follow for more Action Hero awesomeness. Today you've brought us these two, totally gripping tales about game-changing weapons and individuals taking on incredible odds. We've really dug deep into these sources, to bring you the heart of these stories and what they might mean.
Yeah, our first story takes us way back. Ancient China, the Great Walls being built, and this revolutionary weapon, the Iron Dragon, pops up, and, well, it changes everything about war. Then we're jumping ahead to a modern city, a young gunsmith's using her skills to fight back against these crazy rival gangs. Two stories, centuries apart, but both about innovation in the face of, well, chaos.
Let's start with Iron Dragon. Okay, so the Great Wall, this massive, massive thing, meant to be the ultimate defense. Who needs anything more than that giant wall, right?
Yeah. At first, yeah, the sheer size of the Great Wall, it was supposed to stop anybody even thinking about attacking from the north. It was a symbol, of the empire's power, its determination. But like our sources say, the sheer number of these nomadic tribes and how relentless they were, it was a problem traditional defenses, might not be able to handle. People started to realize that static defenses, like a wall, no matter how big, have their limits against a mobile enemy, an enemy that just doesn't give up.
And that's where General Meng comes in. He seemed to get that vulnerability that maybe the wall, impressive as it wasn't going to be enough on its own.
Exactly, yeah. General Meng, he saw the growing anxiety among the soldiers, the people. He understood that while the wall was a huge obstacle, it couldn't guarantee total safety against, well, a massive, relentless force. The sources suggest they needed something more, a more decisive kind of power to really deal with the threat.
And that brings us to the Emperor's secret weapon, the Iron Dragon. This wasn't just a bigger crossbow, it was a whole different game.
Absolutely. The Iron Dragon, it's described as something way beyond a normal siege weapon. The sources really emphasize its size, the psychological impact it was meant to have, even before they used it. It's fascinating. The scholars back then, they knew that its power could actually change the whole nature of warfare.
Okay, so imagine this, the demonstration of this beast of bronze and iron. I mean, we're talking a huge iron ball packed with silk, and I can't even imagine how much gunpowder. So they light it, what happens?
Even loading the Iron Dragon was a spectacle, showing off all the resources, the engineering, the silk wadding. You're right, it probably helped to seal it all in, maximizing the force of the explosion. And the result, the sources describe it, it was like the end of the world. The ground shook, this roar echoed everywhere, and the projectile slams into a mountainside so hard it starts an avalanche.
Wow, the immediate result must have been crazy. I bet those northern invaders scattered just hearing the sound. They probably declared victory right then and there.
Totally. The immediate impact, it was undeniable. News of the Iron Dragon spread like wildfire, and the northern horde retreated. The emperor, he celebrated this quick, seemingly bloodless victory. But, the sources also say, not everyone was thrilled. Some people, like General Meng, they were worried. They knew the danger of such a powerful weapon, how easily it could be misused.
And that worry turns out to be, well, totally justified. Instead of just defending the wall, the Emperor's ambitions, they kind of explode along with the dragon's power.
This is the turning point, yeah. Having such a powerful weapon, it seems to have changed how the Emperor thought strategically. He went from defense to offense. The wall, which was supposed to be a boundary, became a starting point to project power outward. It makes you think how new technology can change political and military goals, sometimes in ways you don't expect.
But those grand conquests, they come with a price. Maintaining this huge wall and now launching military campaigns, it must have been a huge drain on the empire's resources on the people.
For sure. The cost of the emperor's bigger ambitions, they started to add up. They needed constant resources to support these campaigns, plus all the labor for the wall, the garrisons. Taxes went up, people started getting restless, unhappy. The very thing meant to protect them started to feel oppressive, more of a burden than a shield. And then you have the neighboring kingdoms. They're seeing this expansionist power. They feel threatened, and they start to form alliances.
And the Iron Dragon itself, it becomes like a symbol of this overreach, this hunger for more. It's not just a weapon. It's like this demanding entity needing constant fuel, constant loyalty.
That's a good way to put it. The sources, they portray the Iron Dragon as more than just a weapon. It represents the Emperor's increasingly controlling rule and the Empire's declines. Constant need for resources, the fear it inspired. It seemed to eat away at the very soul of the kingdom. It shows how even defensive technology can have these corrosive effects.
Which leads to General Meng's decision,
Yeah.
right? He sees the Empire teetering, sees the conflicts coming, and decides, wow, he has to betray the Emperor.
It's a really fascinating arc. General Meng starts as a loyal servant, but he slowly realizes that the Emperor's obsession with the Iron Dragon, his aggressive policies, they're leading to disaster. His betrayal, it doesn't come from a bad place. It's a desperate attempt to save his people from what he sees as inevitable ruin.
And his escape through a hidden passage is like something out of a legend, giving up his honor, his position, for a chance to dismantle this terrifying weapon.
It's an act of defiance that highlights how morally complex the situation was. Meng chooses what he believes is the greater good, even though it means sacrificing his integrity, facing the judgment of the empire he served. That hidden passage, it symbolizes the secret effort to undermine the emperor's power from within.
So the Great Wall still stands, but the Empire, it doesn't last. There are different ways to look at the Iron Dragon's role in all of that, right?
Yeah, the sources offer this nuanced perspective on what happened to the wall. Some might argue that the Iron Dragon's initial success, it created a dangerous overconfidence, and that contributed to the Empire overextending itself. Others might say it provided a crucial period of defense, even if temporary, before other pressures became too much to handle. It's a reminder of how technology can have complex, often unpredictable long-term consequences.
But then there's that other story about General Meng after he escapes. It's not about huge battles. It's about him in these small villages sharing the Iron Dragon's secrets. A different kind of victory, you could say.
That alternative narrative about General Meng is really interesting. Instead of looking for a big military confrontation, he chooses a path of subtle resistance. He spreads knowledge that could, potentially, neutralize the Emperor's weapon. It suggests that power can be challenged not just through force, but by undermining its foundations. A different perspective on what it means to win.
A powerful ending to that story, for sure. Okay, let's switch gears to our second story, the artisan's bullet. A very different time and place, a gritty urban world, and this young, incredibly talented gunsmith, Anya.
This story takes us to a modern city defined by the conflict between these rival gangs. Anya, she's 16, a prodigy. She inherits her father's workshop and gets caught in the crossfire between the Scorpions and the Vipers.
Anya, she's definitely not your typical teenager. Her world's all about cordite and burnt metal. It's a very vivid image, her dedication to her craft.
Yeah, the description of what she's interested in, it sets her apart right away. Her passion for firearms, something usually dominated by adults, it shows her unique talent, how deeply she's into her craft.
And her father's legacy, it's so central to her story. He taught her everything, but he also becomes a victim of that gang violence. It fuels Anya's desire for revenge, but she channels it in this incredibly unique way, through her work.
It's a pivotal moment, her father's death. He was her teacher, but also a victim of the very violence that's all around her. This loss, it sparks this powerful desire for justice. But she doesn't just want revenge. Anya takes her grief, her anger, and pours it into her skills as a gunsmith. She's looking for a different kind of solution.
Her first run-ins with the gangs, they're almost like something out of a movie. The Scorpions, led by this tough guy, Razor, with a gold tooth, they come in expecting to intimidate her. But Anya's got some surprises waiting for them.
These early encounters, they show Anya's quick thinking, how she refuses to be scared by the gangs. Instead of fighting them head-on, she uses her knowledge of weapons to prank the Scorpions, making them look foolish. It's brave, but also dangerous, and their retaliation is brutal.
Then you got the Vipers, led by this almost mythical figure, Silk. They make her a different kind of offer, protection and payment, but it feels more like a trap.
Silk and the Vipers, they're a more subtle threat, maybe even more dangerous. Their offer of protection, it sounds good, but it comes with strings attached, the expectation of control. Anya, she sees right through it. It's a gilded cage, and she says no. She's determined to stay independent, find her own way.
And this is where Anya shifts from just surviving, from revenge, to something bigger. She starts working on this masterpiece, something that's not just about destruction. This is where her real genius comes in.
It's a crucial change for Anya. She stops just reacting to the danger and starts creating a solution. Her masterpiece, it's not meant to make the violence worse, it's meant to break the cycle. She wants a real, lasting resolution.
And as she's working away in her workshop, both gangs are getting closer, more pressure. They're curious, probably suspicious about what she's up to.
The pressure keeps building. It shows how precarious things are for Anya. She's caught between these two powerful, ruthless gangs. Everything she does is being watched. Her work in that workshop, it becomes a symbol of her defiance, her commitment to her vision.
Now let's talk about this incredible gun and those revolutionary bullets. Sleek, silver, engraved, it's like art. But the ammo, that's what's truly revolutionary. Bullets made from slivers of memory and emotion. No gunpowder, no shrapnel. That's a wild concept.
It is. The story takes this amazing, almost fantastical turn. Anya's invention isn't about traditional ballistics, it's about psychology. By creating bullets infused with memory, with emotion, she's built a weapon that targets the inner world of her enemies, not their bodies. It's completely different from conventional warfare.
That confrontation scene, it's intense. Both gangs show up at her workshop. They're expecting a fight, and Anya just walks out calmly and says she's going to give them a demonstration. Has some serious courage.
Anya's composure, it's key. Even though she's outnumbered, facing danger, she's completely confident in her creation. She understands its power, and she's ready to show them what it can do, not with aggression, but with this carefully controlled personal demonstration.
And she starts firing these memory bullets. The first one hits Razor, bringing back the warmth and laughter of his father. And this hardened gangster, he breaks down. The second bullet, it hits Silk with the terror of her father's death, and her control just shatters. It's like Anya's found a way to weaponize empathy.
The memory bullets, they have a powerful, immediate effect. They go right past the gangsters' defenses and tap into their deepest emotions, their vulnerabilities. Razor, the enforcer, he's suddenly faced with a moment of lost innocence. Silk, always in control, is forced to relive a terrible loss. Anya is making them confront their own humanity.
She keeps going, firing bullets that evoke all these different emotions: joy, despair, love, contentment. These hardened criminals are thrown into complete emotional chaos. It's a totally unexpected and, well, disarming approach.
By going through this range of intense emotions, Anya creates this state of confusion and vulnerability. Their aggression is neutralized not by physical force, but by this emotional onslaught. It's a powerful illustration of how empathy, understanding, can de-escalate even the most deeply rooted conflicts.
And what happens next is amazing. The gangsters are still there, but the threat is gone. They're emotionally shaken, disarmed in a way no gun could ever do.
The scene, it emphasizes how effective Anya's approach is. The gangsters, they're not hurt physically, but emotionally they're transformed. Their weapons are just lying there, a powerful symbol of the change that's happened. It suggests that real disarmament, it might not just be about taking away weapons, but about breaking down those emotional barriers.
Silk's reaction is really interesting. No anger, no retaliation, but a kind of respect. She agrees to a truce, says she needs to think things over. That's a huge shift.
Silk's response, it's a fundamental change. The memory bullets, they've had a deep impact. She's forced to confront her own vulnerability, maybe even rethink her entire way of life. Agreeing to a truce means she's willing to consider alternatives to conflict, a big internal change.
And even Razor, he's probably humiliated, but he leads his scorpions away and their usual threats sound empty. Anya's taken away their emotional armor.
Razor's reaction, yeah, it still has shades of his old self, but his threats, they don't have the same bite anymore. He and his gang, they're unsettled. Their sense of power is gone. They're less likely to resort to violence right away.
Anya's exhausted, but she knows she's planted a seed of hope in this violent world. Despite all the destruction, she's achieved something remarkable.
Her exhaustion makes sense after all that emotional and physical strain. But her realizing she's planted a seed of hope, it underscores the potential of her actions. Even with all the wreckage, she's created a chance for change in a seemingly hopeless situation.
That final image, Anya carving, this is Anya's territory over the Viper's threat. It's so powerful. She's resilient, determined to protect her space, her way of doing things.
This last act of defiance, it completes Anya's transformation from victim to a symbol of resilience and innovation. By taking back her territory, asserting herself in this unique way, she's sending a message. She won't be intimidated, and she'll keep forging her own path, one emotionally charged bullet at a time.
What incredible stories, both of them. You brought us these two very different scenarios, but they both show the impact of innovation and individuals who challenged the status quo.
In ancient China, we saw how a weapon meant for defense could end up changing an empire's fate. It's a reminder of the complex, often unexpected consequences of technology.
And Anya's story, it's such a powerful example of finding strength in a different way. through vulnerability and creativity. It makes us think about how unconventional solutions can work, even in the face of conflict.
We hope these narratives have got you thinking about the nature of innovation, the impact of technology, and the courage individuals can show when facing impossible odds. What stood out most to you in these stories? We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Thanks for joining us on the Axe Hero podcast. Don't forget to rate and follow for more epic adventures.